just while this is loading up, I'd really like to take the opportunity to really take my hat off to Steve and Chandler and the council for getting behind this and getting someone like Linda involved. I was really impressed with the work that Linda's done already, the observations she's made already, and I think the follow-up that's going to come from this will be invaluable. And I had no idea, except for Kylie said, "Oh well, can you come over and be a guest speaker?" I said, "Yeah, sure. What do you want to talk about?" "Oh, what you do?" "Okay, all right. Well, let's do it." So I guess I'm here to talk about a product story, but I'd like to just dig a little bit deeper than that, because I think there's so much opportunity in Western Queensland that we haven't even scratched the surface yet. And if we have a little look around us, we've got a lot of things. And I've just got some key words that I'd like you to possibly write down, because I think they're very relevant to developing tourism for those that are really serious about making a journey and starting afresh. No matter where you are now, including us, we need to keep refreshing ourselves. And today I'd like you to write down that word. It's all about refreshment. It's a continual thing. And if we don't wash our face in the morning, we get a bit grubby. So we've got to keep our product fresh. So the key words are product and product development, profile, tourism assets. It's probably the biggest thing you need to write down there, because what we see, I'll go into this a little bit further on, tourism assets. Profile's probably the biggest issue we have in outback Queensland, particularly in the towns that haven't had the media exposure, like Longridge and Winton and Birdsville and the Gulf and the Cape and those other icon sort of places. And I believe we've got the content here, it's just that people don't know about it. So to me, that's profile. And a good example is when Lynn was going through that bit of an audit there. But the other thing is media plan. I think we need to coordinate sort of 12 months, 18 months in advance on getting that profile out there. So that's another key word. Learnings. We need to never forget about our learnings. You know, this is our 30th year of operation, and believe you me, we've got plenty of learnings and we've still got plenty to go. I thought it was a great idea to put really nice scenic flight sections in my longer tours up the Cape and Gulf, and that was a fantastic idea. And I asked my past passengers, and because they loved what we did, they all said, "Yeah, that's a great idea." I lost $500,000 from this year to last, because some people don't like light aircraft. Some people actually don't like the $2,000 extra put on the ticket. So I should have used a market, a search group or a focus group in market who hadn't travelled yet. So there's still lots of valuable learnings. But anyway, and what is your signature here in your business, in your town, in your region? And the consumers need to know that, and they need to know it before they get here. Anyway, and I just asked the question, what could it be? Okay, so how are we going here? No luck? Okay, so I had some really nice photos here of me in the troop carrier and a skinny bloke with a cup of tea. And it's probably a good thing I can't show you this right now. But I started off with the troop carrier in Blackall. I had an idea. We grew up going out to the palace and people's properties and picking up petrified wood and just sharing stories about Cobb and Co and the early days and pioneers and great stuff. And I read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big one day, and I'm not a big reader, but it made an impression. And it made me think about all the things that influenced my life and what I might like to do and how I use the skills that I have naturally and that I'd like to get. And so I came up with an idea of Outback Aussie Tours to share this backyard with people from away. And I heard of a place called the Hall of Fame being built. And so it was a few years ago. And so I thought Longridge is where that's being built. That's going to be the highlight. That's what we need to use as the base to get people out into the other parts of the region. When I started, I had no bloody idea on what you could or couldn't do with people. Chandler knows that. We went out to Delta a few times, and you know, that troop carrier would be allowed on the road today. because it used to jump grids and go and chase emus and head off the track, so I can't say I was the best operator when I started. But I did have a lot of fun, and so did the people on board, and I didn't knock anyone around or get any fatalities, so it's a good start. And so we actually learnt a lot, and I decided to that was a good thing to do something the shape of a boomerang and going from Longreach out to the Palace and down to Blackwell and out to Yarraka and back up to Longreach, all in 3 days, 2 nights. Well, if I had been able to operate and that sell it, I would have killed them, because no way in the world you can cover that much content in that time. But I had no idea. So it does need a lot of testing when you have this stuff. And then I started doing little trips out, cooking dampers and stuff out to Lily Lagoon out at Longreach, and that worked really well, doing it sunrise and that sort of stuff. And we were mates with Des and Norma Fallon at Avington, and we got married there as a couple, and it's a really great place. So we used to do trips out to the Palace and to Blackwell and out to there. So I did a 700 odd K day trip to get those people to there. Then I'd go back and have my cleaning contracts, some other little jobs to keep me in business back in Longreach, and I'd come back and pick people up in a couple of days' time and take them through. I did that for a few years, and then we bought the one of the boat cruise businesses. We've owned 3 different boat cruise businesses over the last 30 years, to give you an idea. So we got in it, we got out of it. Every time there's too much bullshit in politics in town, bugger them, let's go and do the longer tours out of town. And then I'd say, no, we need to diversify, we need that market, because you get the grey nomad market coming through all the time, but it's hard to get them to stop and spend. So they can't take their caravan up the river, and so the boat cruise worked. And so we now really enjoy what we do with the boat cruise, and we've developed Smithy's Outback Dinner and Show, and it's all about the experience, you know. But anyway, so where it all began was in Blackwell with a few ideas and a troop carrier and a camp oven, Baduri camp oven. It was cheaper, and a 3-litre juice tin as a billy, and an answer machine was a big investment. But anyway, I think it really, I just want to boil it down so you can probably use this yourself rather than going on too much about me. I'll tell you a bit about our product after I've gone through this little bit of a journey with you, but I believe that, you know, we need to have a look at the basics as a region now, whether we're refreshing as Outback Aussie Tours 30 years, or as a council region, or as an individual person in a retail business, or someone in a motel, or someone wanting to start in a tourism, someone out on the stations. So we need to look at what are the tourism assets, and it's not the obvious things. It's not like the Hall of Fame or the Qantas Museum, and it is. They are the assets. Don't get me wrong. It's the Shire roads. It's Indigenous sites and stories. It's landscapes, ship and cattle stations. You name it. But you need to consider the experiences that people can't get on the coast, and we need to glue them together and make it possible. We all have all these different things happening in the Barcaldine region, but they're not glued together to make it visible. The visitors coming through aren't seeing it. And so that's what the magic word of packaging is all about. And packaging is not just an extended day tour like in Smithy's brochure. Packaging might be just an itinerary, some signage on how we direct people and get them to experience these things. It might be just starting off a little tester 2-hour experience out to Lake Dolly. It could be going out, you know, with Louise on a induction on photography down at Lagoon. You know, all sorts of things. And then we need to build on those things. It needs a bit of a plan and a profile, and it needs to fit into an overall thing. Because what I do notice is, unless we're in a football team, we fight like shit. We don't like to admit it. But that's what's holding you back. It's what's holding Longreach back. It's what's holding Winton back. It's because the individuals, excuse me, old people in the room, but too many people trying to piss on the same tree, all right? And it's not working, you know, because the more you fight, the more you actually push people away from you. Most people don't like conflict, so they walk away. And so I see things that have taken a long, long time to get attention, like the Indigenous story of this country. It should be celebrated, not fought over. So we need to find a place where we can do that. You know, the story on Redford or some of the stories that people get a bit parochial about. We need to just work out what is the page we can agree on. And I think it's really, we're really holding each other back. Someone's trying to ring me. And I've got this on my phone. You got it, have you?
Yeah.
How did you do that? All right, I'll see how far I got through here. Well, you did get to see the skinny bloke. Thanks, mate. That working? Yep. No such thing as the internet when I started, or a mobile phone. Righto, where it all began, I've done the dot point, so we'll go past the skinny bloke. Okay, this is just talking a little bit about, Tiller Toyota and stuff, so we'll move on. So we talked about tourism assets, and we've moved on from this as well, but, I think the key thing in there that I've learnt expensively is develop test products using focus groups and feedback and improvements. But the big one here is engage with established products and other areas and learn from their experiences, because everyone, you see when businesses change hands, everyone gets in and changes everything. It's not always for the better, is it? We see it. And sometimes you've got to really look at things, how it gets done. And look at what the visitors think. And I think we really need to focus back on what's going to work for the guest rather than what do we like to show them. As visitors, we like to show people stuff, that's fine, but how we package it up and how we deliver it is really only changing on one point of view. What is the market and what their expectations are and how do we meet them? A lot of people try to surpass their expectations up here, but they don't meet them down here, so the whole thing doesn't get the rap that it deserves. But if we had the good coffee, we might have actually really got some good brownie points with surpassing our expectations. And coffee is a big deal. Even though some people like their instant, we've got to think about not us, but what they like. And it depends what market it is too. Rightio. I think a really big one here is to get your pricing right to suit and to suit your planned distribution. A lot of people don't understand wholesale, retail, and all those things. Peter, did you touch on that this morning? Just briefly, yeah. So, retail commission's 10, wholesale's 20, inbound's 25, and then preferred goes to 30%. So that's a lot of money when it's a package, when it's all included, and you've got to just distribute it to everybody and still stay relevant in the marketplace on price. But understanding that is really important, because some products you produce might only ever sell to the grey nomads coming through, so you might only need a certain level of commission there. So it's understanding distribution is really important. And I guess the partnering too, like a lot of people think that they're on their own, or it's someone's fault for not doing this or someone's fault. Well, it's everyone's fault for not talking to each other. Communication and truth are the two secrets of my success, and it doesn't always work because it takes two to tango. But truly, if we actually got on one page with OQTA and with the Tourism Events Queensland and Tourism Australia and each other and our shires, we've just got to find where we can agree. What we can't agree on is not worth worrying about, because there's so much I think we can agree on. Just got to find those things, and I think Linda's going to flesh that out. I feel very confident about that. Whoops. Okay, so I can't do this. That's better. Okay, so stage product and profile development. know who you're developing the product for, how to reach them, and how they prefer to buy. Be realistic about the product, the region, the profile. Who do you need to lobby to work with to grow the regional profile? So the council already doing things, the region's already doing things, the state's already doing things. How do you fit into that? Because sometimes it doesn't have to be too hard. It's just a matter, again, of communication. That's why I think if we had a media plan that we could all fit into and have some sort of place in, it might give you an idea of when you do that and what you do for that. So I think we had a thing that OQTA did years ago called "The Pen is Mightier Than the Sword," and it was just a little 2-hour thing that was done and presented by a great journo called Christine Reschlag. And she would still do that today, I think. I was talking to her last year about it. But it's really good because you understand how to feed the media and when to do it, no matter what level of business that you're at. Because I think the media thing is totally underestimated. I think we spend a lot of money on advertising. We spend a lot of money on our time. But if we can actually host media out here and it can help our profile, but it can also help get our brand and of the experience out there. So when we do advertise a product or a price, we might actually get a higher conversion. That's probably one of the biggest learnings we've had. But anyway, yeah, so be realistic about the product. What's the hook in attracting the visitors to the region? And the hook is many things. Like if we didn't have a picture of the train on a lot of our big advertising we do away in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, Auckland, wherever, we wouldn't get their interest. It wouldn't be visible, they wouldn't see it. Because the train is the point of difference for those packages that we've actually got in there for that product. And so some of you might have heard we're successful at getting $1 million towards a rail motor. And we're really, really keen on getting that going up to Winton for the first year from Longreach. And then if we can, we'd like to run it from Emerald to Barcaldine overnight and then up to Winton overnight and then return. So we need to package that. And I'm very excited to talk today because you not only might learn something from my story, I might learn something from what happens today. And I'm really, really serious about taking anyone who wants to on that journey. And I want people to spend money in the communities, and I want them to get to understand what it's like for the communities. I want it to work for the communities, because if it doesn't work for the communities, it's not the right experience for the visitors. That's my theory anyway. You really need to look at the partners who have the reach and the knowledge. So, OQTA have got a lot of reach, a lot of knowledge, doing a lot of stuff with Facebook and all that sort of stuff. Outback Aussie Tours have the knowledge for packaging and probably going to market and getting that conversion. And there's other operators out there that do that. So don't be afraid to ask them questions. If they don't want to talk, they don't want to do business. It's okay. I want to talk and I want to do business. Okay, and package for a purpose. You use package to reframe your product in different markets. So what it looks like for the grey nomads might be different for the schools. Might have the same content, but we just work the content differently. We might have cordial instead of coffee. Hang on, you can't do that, can you? But anyway, you might have water instead of coffee. You just have different things that you need to package it up with, so it's visible to that market. It's going to work for that market. So aligning with industry partners is so important. I mean, in Longreach, there's 40 to 60,000 visitors going through the big attractions. There's a lot going on. We have about 10,000 people out at Smithy's Dinner and Show with the boat cruise. It's really busy. And we take probably about 2,000 to 3,000 people on extended tours around from Cape York to Cameron Corner. It's quite a big program. But, Kinnons have spent a lot of money up there too. And we've leveraged off each other, and it's really, really important that people do invest, and you do invest in different things. So and not going out there and creating the same as what someone else has got is just dumb. So just don't do it. Now, working together to grow things like the shoulders. Our tourist season's so short. And if we could actually put some events on in October, November and March, April and build those shoulders up, all of a sudden it might mean the difference between taking someone on full-time rather than casual. Someone not coming back next year and being a good job for a local person. So there's a lot of consistencies we need to consider on how we develop the business, and we're trying to do this, but I'll tell you now, we can't do it on our own. So, and it's all about complementing the local partners, not competing, like I said before, and partner on shared media and trade activity. So if there's a group coming to town, even if they haven't got time to actually go and experience Lake Dolly, they might like to say g'day to Cheryl and her team, or go around to the Red Shed and say g'day, or bring them into a function or when they're having dinner or something anyway, just so they get that face to face. The more we bring people into it, people forget that tourism is about people. If we have the more human experiences we bring in, the more we touch people's hearts and their minds, and that's what creates memories, not static attractions. This is just an example that I did in the Traveller's Guide. So there's a full page up in the middle of what we do with the boat cruise and our passes and our station activities and that sort of thing, but also through Barcaldine and Country Motor in there, and that was about the only ad that I could find, or that there's not much advertising in the Traveller's Guide, and really it's the cheapest thing. It might seem like a lot of money, but the activity that Peter and his team do is just amazing, particularly at the caravan camping shows and that main market that comes through here. So you need more of a presence there, Steve, even if it's just a cooperative that you do for Barcaldine initially, just to get more presence in that mag. And also just sort of showing you what we've done there with Strathmore. It's a station tour that we operate only twice a week, and it sells to the grey nomads, but we also run it through our packages, and that works quite well. But really advertising, you need to be able to measure it, and it's a really hard one because a lot of people say, oh, I never got a return on that. But I know that when we put we've been working with Sun Lover Holidays, which is a major wholesaler in Australia, and ever since we've been promoting in all the motoring organisations last 3 years, our figures have gone like that. That's great. It also imposes big problems because we pay them 25%, a quarter of what we make. So our average commission for what we spend goes up. Plus we're spending $16,000 a page on putting that advertising in. So we've got to be careful how we get the marketing mix right and what our yield is like at the end of the day. So it's not just about the sale, it's about the profit at the end of the day. So the big OAT learnings, I guess, for this message that I've got for the Barkey region really is low or no profile in market equals no or low profile in conversion, or no or low conversion. So as an example, let's say Outback Overland, we ran from Cairns down to Longreach. We ran it for 3 years. We just couldn't make a quid on it. We really tried. We spent, it took up a third of a page, or a quarter of a page on our full page advertising, which cost $13,000 to $16,000 a page, and we're advertising in every motoring organisation in Australia, and it does cost a lot of money. But what I have noticed is, since we've had a business coach, we've started to get a bit more entrepreneurial and taking out these ads and focusing more on the consumer. We've actually gone from $2.5 million turnover to $6.5 million. All right, and if I take this away, I'll guarantee you we wouldn't do that business. So this is a very critical part of what we do. But these ads didn't work. These products didn't work. These products, the Cairns one for the Overlander went down through Porcupine Gorge, fantastic stuff, through Hughenden, fantastic town, great heritage. But does anyone in market know about it? Central West Discovery, 2 nights in Barkey, doing some great stuff out in the bush. National Parks, did all these things for a number of years, put a lot of money into marketing, couldn't sell them, had to take them out. All right, so my message to you today is let's raise the profile together. We can't do it individually. Let's do it together and raise the profile. I'm happy to help with packaging and whatever it takes, because I'm born and bred in the briar patch, pinching that from Chandler, that's what he used to say. And I really do have a vested interest in Western Queensland. It's called my family and my life, and we love it. And I know there's people in the room here like that. And if we can put that together and put our differences aside and work on what we can agree on, I know we can make it work, because this didn't work, and this cost thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost advertising and lost manpower. But if you don't ever go, you don't know. Oops. Come on. Okay, this is just the motoring organisation thing. So that sort of just gives you an idea that the RSCV is about $13,000 a page, the RSCQ is $16,000. Some of them are more or less, so that's $32,000 if you want to do a double page spread. So it's a lot of money, it's big turnover, and you need to do the sales and justify the return on investment. So we spend in excess of $500,000 just on advertising and marketing in getting people to outback Queensland. So it all comes at a cost. So return on investment is really, really important, and yield is really important. That's why your average commissions are really important. That needs to be managed, all right? Especially when you make or break your living on tourism 100% like we do. But anyway, yeah, so there's just some of the brands there. There's just an example of the actual page ad. You can see it's got a map so people can see where they're going, and it's actually got a bit of a blurb, and more importantly, a price. Now, if you looked at all these prices, they're ex-Sydney, they're ex-Adelaide, they're ex-Perth, and if we don't sell at X there, and if we don't take a punt on the flights, that's a whole new subject, it's really, you may as well not advertise. We started advertising ex-Longridge and didn't get a sale. We started advertising ex-Brisbane with the train included and the flights included. We started advertising ex-Melbourne, all those things with the flights included, and we started to sell. And we learned all that over the last 3 years only. And part of that journey was the increase of turnover. Okay, OET goes international. This is just an example of some of the things. We've done a thing called ATE, Australian Tourism Exchange, for over 20 years now. That's where all inbound wholesalers and operators come from all over the world. They come into Sydney or Adelaide or Melbourne or Cairns or wherever the host city is. And it's one of the biggest trade shows in the Southern Hemisphere. It's large. And there's a lot of business conducted or discussed at that point. But it's all about building relationships. It's the follow-up that gets the business. And it's taken 20 years to get some of those people on the page there that we're now doing business with. And that's only scratching the surface. So there's stuff that's very good interest, and now some conversion from Hong Kong, and also Dreamaroo in Germany. The Best of Australia Group, we're now actually a full page in their brochure that goes to all Best of Australia Group agencies right around Europe. So it's quite a big coup, that one. And New Zealand, we're in the House of Travel plus Go Holidays, so it's pretty good. That's a bit slow like me. Anyway, yeah, so there's just some examples of the Longridge experiences that we've developed over the last few years. The MV Explorer is a great old boat, 50 people can be on the top if you like and watch sunset. We stop it, the turtles come out and people love it. And there's good tucker and food, and Smithy's Outback Dinner and Show is what's sort of where the people are sitting there, and that's just a lovely atmosphere. Just stopping people and putting them in a different environment and telling a story is more powerful sometimes than walking through a museum. It's just so simple. The old railway station, worked with Queensland Rail on that, and over the last 5 years we've helped, and in partnership of dollars, helped restore that beautiful old building, and now we've got the cafe going there as well. So this is one of our teams at Sunset there with one of our vehicles, Neville the Devil, named after my father, who was a devil on the tennis court. So there's always a connection. So this is our latest machine, the Mercedes-Benz. We went all leather this time, a bigger door to get in and out of the dunny for some of those bigger people, and a bigger door to get in and out of the saloon as well than what is on any other vehicle in Australia. We've gone for a nice timber look on the floor and a nice tan and dark blue leather, and it looks a lot better in the person, and you're welcome to have a look anytime you want to at Longridge if it's in town. But yeah, so we've got 3 bigger vehicles like that. We've got 2 coaches, and we've got 2 little mini buses and a Land Cruiser. This is our brochure. I'll just quickly go through the product here for those that haven't seen it. I do have some brochures. Peter's kindly brought some over from Longridge, and they're out on the table there if you'd like any, just to get an idea, and a hard copy of that. But this is our 30-plus year brochure for next year. We got this out in August this year. We'd love to have got it out in June or July. So we've got to get out really early when you're in market to give people time to think about it, especially if they're spending $7,000 or $8,000, which is what the packages come to when you put flights and lots of days involved. It starts to add up. Okay, there's the good-looking girl, Sue, and Sue does a mighty job. She effectively manages the hospitality side of the business. Smithy's Outback Dinner Show is really her baby down at the river, plus managing the smoko quality that goes out on all tours, plus a whole lot of things behind the scenes. We also host people at Rosebank. Rosebank Homestead came up for lease a few years ago, so we did a long-term lease on that, and we take everybody on our extended tours out to our place for smoko or lunch or dinner, just to make sure they don't feel like a number and they feel welcome. You can see the map on your left-hand side. All the coloured routes are all the different tours from the tip of Cape York down to Cameron Corner, and it's quite a spread of tours that have developed over the years, and it's all come from just communicating with our people, asking where they want to go, what they want to do next. We've got lovely repeat visitation that keeps coming back, and we're looking for new things all the time, but we're working so far in advance because we're now looking at 2020 and 2021 product, just to give you an idea how far in advance. Okay, a little bit about how to get there with the train and all that sort of stuff and the plane. We really need to band together as communities of Outback Queensland and get some action on a tour-based fare, but I won't bang on that today. This is up at Cobalt Gorge. Looks a bit nice, eh? That's in one of the remotest areas of the Gulf of Carpentaria, and they've really put some great investment in there, so it shows what can be done. It's beautiful. Some of these optional experiences that we've got up here with the aircraft. So we've got a product we've designed out of Cloncurry that you can jump on a plane and go up to Lawn Hill, get off, and they pick you up and take you up the gorge in the electric boat, and have lunch at Adele's Grove and put you back on the plane, and you regroup with the bus up at Corumba. So it's just utilising the assets up there, a bit different for different market segments. The corner country, we actually have a flight out over Lake Eyre and then land at William Creek and then out over the Painted Hills and back up the Warburton Groove and into Birdsville, which is quite nice. And of course we have a little flight just around Birdsville for those that do that. We go to Birdsville 9 times on one tour and 5 times on another, and so we're in and out of Birdsville quite a bit. And the Gulf Savannah, what else was there? Oh yeah, the Cape York trip, that's another thing. But anyway, gives you a bit of an idea. This is the Getaway. It's just a 4-night package in Longreach, and that's been going for some years now, very successful. That's our lead-in product, so people get a chance to try it out if they haven't been on a package before, and the idea is they like the style, so they come and do this one year, then maybe go to the Cape or the Gulf, or usually Birdsville's the next step after the Longreach stuff, as on average. New as of April next year, we actually come to Barcaldine in a day trip for the first time in years. So we're coming over to Barkey. We'll spend the full day over here, what you get out of a full day once you travel. And so we really need to work with you on profile so this can be successful and so other things can be successful, so people know what it's like and the value is there to actually come up here. This is our top selling tour. We sold 20 of these last year, averaged 20 odd people per tour. It was nearly $1 million worth of turnover just as one tour. So very, very successful. And that's 3 nights in Longreach and 2 nights in Birdsville. There's a good looking Sue again outside the house at Rosebank. But just some lovely experiences. That's Carisbrook Station on the top left hand side, just a beautiful piece of paradise. But that's packaging. Birdsville Desert Escape, it's probably our second most successful tour really as far as loadings and stuff go, and that's the one that runs 9 times next year. Down there ran 8 times this year, and the loadings are probably better on that tour than any other tour in advance for next year. Cape York, Torres Strait, just beautiful. Look at this, that's Fruitbat Falls up there. We only did this because our customers wanted it. We stayed away from the Cape, it wasn't in our area. Now, people want us to go over to Kimberley too, but it's just too far for mechanics and all that sort of stuff. But we've got really good relationships with people in Cairns through Savannah Guides and a whole lot of stuff. So our network about 6 years ago extended up there, and now it's one of our most successful tours. That's selling more than even the Gulf of Carpentaria is for next year. Okay, the Journey of the Gulf, this is probably one of my favourite tours because of the contrast of different landscapes and different communities and the different rail experiences. That's Cobalt Gorge there on the left-hand side. It's just beautiful. That's the mouth of the Gulf of Carpentaria. We cruise out there at sunset. It's a bit tough and have seafood on the sand island, but, you know, someone's got to do it. And we just connect all those things up. And the corner country, this is our longest running tour. It's 16 days, so that's from Brisbane. So we're ex-Brisbane. We have the Royal and the Parkers, our home away from home motel opposite the Botanical Gardens, and that's night one. And then we head out to Birdsville and back into Longreach, and they go back on the train. Big loop when you have a look at the map on the top right-hand side. Again, there's a little package that we've worked in with out of Roma. Troops can jump in a light aircraft, go up with Michelle into Carnarvon Gorge, do the walk up to Moss Gardens, go back and have lunch at the lodge, and jump back on the plane and get back into Charleville to re-meet the bus. And terms and conditions are really important. We're looking at that all the time. The expectations, what people are expecting, we have to meet. But we also have to protect ourselves so those expectations have limitations. And we're always looking at our booking conditions so we don't get caught out. But thank you, Barcaldine Region, for the invitation. OAT is passionate about raising the profile of Outback Queensland. We're firm believers in collaborative approach and shared investment and rewards. Thank you.